right? Obama succeed not as a person. This is not a personal egoic issue. That the United States of America succeed. The United States of America is an incredibly important country in this world, and the United States of America's ability to alleviate suffering, and to create an ethical and good world is enormous. So I think all of us, hope, Republican and Democrat alike, or undecided, that the President of the United States, whoever that is successful, in fulfilling the mandate of the United States and defining it in the best way possible. Now, having said that, where I think, so in that sense, I want to really bow to Obama, bow in the sense of not prostrate, but a tip of the hat, right? Inspiration is a real thing, and the ability actually for the nations of the world, right, to look at the American president and say, damn, those Americans, they just blow me away. That never would have happened here. And if there's something, I've talked to many people around the world in the last year as the campaign has unfolded, and there's this enormous excitement about Obama in the best sense of America, meaning people have known nothing about policy issues. And this has nothing to do with policy. This has nothing to do with all the substantive important issues that separated McCain from Obama. But in the sense that, in the kind of magical only in America sense, in that kind of casting sense, but even more than a casting sense. I mean, the fact is that Bill Clinton became president, and Barack Obama became president. And as a fact, these are not children of patricians. These are not Prescott Bush's, grandchildren. These are people who basically with tough families, who pulled themselves up by their bootstraps, in the best of conservative values, right? And were able to kind of enter the public stage and make, certain kinds of very real contributions. And that is, I say, time again, it's what made me eat Thanksgiving dinner when I lived in Israel. It's the greatness of America. I mean, the greatness of America is that Barack Obama can become president. That's completely beautiful. It's been, maybe one last thing, Levi. And I just want to also kind of say something, for Black America today. Again, this is beyond policy issues this way or that way, right? It must be a very exciting day for Black America. And I'm really happy about that, because Black America, right, did emerge from the slave trade. In other words, when all the issues and complexities of Black American, the famous report of Moynihan in '65, and all the complexities in the community, and let's put all that aside. The fact is that a Black man is now president of the United States, and that should infuse an enormous sense of pride, in the Black community. And I hope that sense of pride will be translated in many, many, many beautiful ways. And I think that, all Americans, have this is a moment. Whatever happens tomorrow is tomorrow. This is a moment to turn to Black America and say, hey guys, that's gorgeous. Brothers and sisters, your man made it in. That's completely cool. And you have good right to be proud.
Exactly.
Yeah, you have good right to be proud. What's his name? Jay, my friends here in Salt Lake City have convinced me in the past 3 or 4 weeks for the first time to turn into Jon Stewart. This Comedy Central, which I understand the rest of the country's all been watching before me. So he had a very, very funny question where he says, there's all this talk about the Bradley effect, and people not being able to vote. So he says to Obama, he says, since you're both white and Black, do you think you're going to have trouble voting for yourself, like when you get into the polling booth? So bless, if this is what's happening, this is the result of the Democratic choice. We just have to, pray and hope and act that this should be good, and particularly in terms of Israel. My greatest worry, about Obama, as a Jewish person, is based on the advisors that he surrounded himself with. Not him, but the advisors that he surrounded himself with, do not seem to understand the Israel issue, or seem to be kind of definitively, and I hate to use the word, but it's the only one I can use, tilted against Israel in some very significant and disturbing way. And how that's going to play it out and what that's going to mean, is very, very important and very significant. Not in a kind of Jewish, parochial way. Israel as a democracy, Israel is the only democracy in the Middle East. Israel is the only country that supports pluralism and feminism, in the Middle East. Israel as America's great ally for the values that America stands for in the Middle East. So when a person tilts against Israel in that kind of significant way, it's very hard to know what that means. And so that's what I'm obviously most concerned with, in terms of the broader realpolitik.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see who had the better read on Obama. He seems to have enormous support among people who are pro-Palestinian, pro-Arab in the Arab-Israeli conflict, and he also has enormous support among Jews. So,
Yes.
so it'll be interesting to see which group had the best read on him.
Right.
I mean, it would be devastating if Jews voted in overwhelming numbers for Barack Obama, who proves to be so devastating to the Jewish state of Israel.
Well, tragically, as we wind down here, but tragically, the level of alienation, right? Again, because people can't hold complexity, right? People can handle the complexity of being a proud, passionate, committed American, and deeply committed, to Israel, and the level of alienation that exists today between the large body of American Jewry in Israel is enormous. AIPAC, for the American Jewish community is the exception, not the rule. The number of Jews that visit Israel is astonishingly small, minuscule, and so that relationship, the relationship of the American Jewish community with Israel is in itself, right, in some degree of danger, and needs to be vivified and infused with energy and passion in the coming years.
Yes. Okay, that's pretty much it, right, Mark?
Okay, Levi, it was good talking to you, and blessings in the next 4 years, sir.
Okay, hang on.